I wrote on the way over. We went over in the beginning of 1945, on a troop ship.
Mel Brooks is an American director, actor, producer, composer, comedian, lyricist, theatrical producer, TV producer, screenwriter, and voice actor. He's probably most famous for movies like Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, and Robin Hood Men in Tights. He's also the creator of the musical adaptation of his first film, The Producers. He's won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony Award, putting him in the very select EGOT Club. In 2009, Brooks received a Kennedy Center honor and was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2010. In 2013, he won the 41st AFI Life Achievement Award.
When I was doing bad jokes, when I had not yet found my way, which was reality was my way, tell the truth.
If you enjoy these videos, please remember to hit the like button, as it does help us out a lot. And comment below who your favorite celebrity is that you'd love to see in an upcoming video. His full name is Melvin Kaminsky, but is also known as Mel Brooks. He was born June 28, 1926 in New York City, making him 95 at the time of this production. He stands at 1.65 meters or 5 feet 4 inches tall. The star sign of Brooks is Cancer. He cited his favorite films as Bicycle Thieves and The Grand Illusion. His favorite song is Yankee Doodle Dandy by George M. Cohen. His mornings start with a cafe au lait, which he makes just so with warm milk and Dunkin' Donuts beans. I like a real coffee color, he explains. Not too light, not too black, just what a coffee color should be. Brooks is an avid fan of Russian literature, occasionally making references to works and writers in his films. 3 of Mel's films ranked in the American Film Institute's list of top 100 comedy films of the past 100 years. Mel was honored in a handprint and footprint ceremony at TCL Chinese Theater in 2014. Moreover, American Masters created a biography on this man. He's the godfather of Alan Yentov's children. In an NPR interview, he mentioned that he attended Virginia Military Institute and thus, in reference to the 1938 film setting, was a brother rat. He was considered for the role of Dr. Sam Loomis in the horror film Halloween, which went to Donald Pleasance. Regarding religion, Brooks stated, "I'm rather secular. I'm basically Jewish, but I think I'm Jewish not because of the Jewish religion at all. I think it's the relationship with the people and the pride I have. The tribe surviving so many misfortunes and being so brave and contributing so much knowledge to the world and showing courage." Brooks endorsed Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential election in his first ever public endorsement of a political candidate. On Jewish Cinema, Brooks said, "They can be anything and anywhere. If there's a tribal thing like the please God protect us feeling, we don't know where and how it's going to come out. Avatar was a Jewish movie. These people on the run, chasing and being pursued." Mel is close friends with Italian TV star Ezio Greggio. Brooks is often a guest on Greggio's shows and offered Greggio a small role in his movie Dracula Dead and Loving It due to his friendship. Mel was married to Florence Baum from 1953 to 1962. They had 3 children together. In 1964, Mel married actress Anne Bancroft. They had 1 child together, Max, and were together until her death in 2005. Max Brooks has developed into a successful writer in his own, specializing in the zombie genre. Max Brooks wrote the book World War Z, which was adapted into a movie starring Brad Pitt in 2013.
Bad guys escaping from Warner Brothers, escaping from the black sheriff who was, Cleavon Little was on a horse.
Yep.
And he was chasing him.
He was born to Kate and Max Kaminsky. His parents were Jewish immigrants. His father was born in Tilsit, then in Prussia, now Russia, with ancestors from the area which is now present-day Belarus. His mother was born in Kiev, Russian Empire, now Ukraine. His father died of kidney disease when he was just 2 years old. He grew up in tenement housing. At age 9, Mel's Uncle Joe, a taxi driver who drove Broadway doormen back to Brooklyn after shows, was given a pair of tickets to a production of Anything Goes. Joe took Mel. After the show, Mel told his uncle that someday he was going to work in show business. Brooks began to work as a stand-up comedian for resorts in the Catskills as a summer job during high school. After serving in the U.S. Army during World War II, he returned to comedy work as a writer rather than a performer. In 1949, he was hired by Sid Caesar to write jokes for an NBC show called The Admiral Broadway Review. In 1950, Caesar created a variety series called Your Show of Shows and hired Mel as a writer. In the writer's room with Mel would be future Hollywood heavyweights Carl Reiner, Neil Simon, Danny Simon, and Mel Tolkien. Brooks and Reiner formed a comedy duo and began performing an act called The 2,000-Year-Old Man, which became wildly popular. In 1965, Mel created the comedy series Get Smart, which became a huge hit. Get Smart aired 138 episodes over 5 seasons. For several years, Mel had been tinkering with the idea for a movie that would be a musical comedy related to Nazis and Adolf Hitler. He eventually finalized a screenplay and found producers willing to take a chance. The Producers, Mel's first feature film, was released in 1967. Major distributors would not touch the movie, so he had to release it as an independent art film. He ended up winning the 1968 Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, and pretty soon the movie became a huge underground hit, especially on college campuses. In the 1970s, Mel transitioned more into the role of writer-director. He directed and wrote the 1974 movies Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. Other notable works, either as a writer, director, or producer, include History of the World Part 1, Spaceballs, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Dracula, Dead and Lovin' It, The Elephant Man, The Fly, and 84 Charing Cross Road.
They eat Schnitzengruben. She blows out the candles and she says in her German accent, "Oh, is it true?"
He's considered one of the highest-earning producers and directors. The main sources of income of Mel Brooks include film, television, and theater. When Sid Caesar hired him in 1949, he was paid $50 a week. His salary as a writer for the series The Admiral Broadway Review is $50,000. Then in 2006, he earned $5 million. He has a net worth of $100 million. In June 2000, Mel and Ann spent $1.7 million on 4 contiguous Ocean View apartments in Santa Monica, California. They then proceeded to spend another $500,000 on renovations, and in 2004 bought the 5th unit in the same building for $300,000. The result was a nearly 4,000 square foot gorgeous apartment that was listed for sale in 2011 for $6 million. He found a buyer in 2013 for $5.5 million. His longtime primary home with Ann was a 13,000 square foot home above a country club in Santa Monica. They bought this property in 1978 for an undisclosed amount. A year earlier, they spent $515,000 for an oceanfront house in Malibu. They previously owned an apartment in New York City and a house in the Hamptons. He still owns a penthouse condo on Manhattan's Upper West Side, which was acquired in 1990 for $350,000. Mel Brooks likely owns the following cars: a Range Rover, a BMW, a Land Cruiser, A Cadillac Fleetwood.